Do we want to see if anybody comes and talks to us? Gentle. Well, there's nobody here yet. I've put it live and...
What, so don't you say anything to people?
No, otherwise I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah, but you don't hang it.
Now you'll be talking in the video. Should I delete all this to start again? Huh? We might not get anybody. It takes a couple of minutes sometimes.
So I should give it a ghosting.
Josh the Lizard Man. G'day, g'day. How's it going? G'day, g'day, how are you? You're impersonating me. Thank you. That'll give my other half a hoot. How are you? Wait for messages to pop up. My other half's a bit camera shy. She's hiding on the other side making fun of me. So you'll have to excuse the instructions getting whispered over my head. How are you, Josh? Pardon? Because they can't talk, they just write messages. I don't normally do videos in front of the boss, so yeah, she's quizzing me on how it all works. Anybody else out there? So we're just hanging out with Isabella, the little sacker, and you're good. That's good to hear. It's hopefully warmer than where we are now. Normally on my weekends I film my video for the week, but it's cold and wet outside. So yeah, me, Isabella, and Priscilla, the Sand Goanna, are just hanging out on the couch where it's warm and dry. Where are you based, Josh? I know, it's very exciting, Isabella. My stage hand off to the side there. We might not get any more people, who knows? Pardon? 2 people. Hey there. Castle my asshole? Yo, that is awesome. What is that? Well, this is Isabella. And this is Priscilla. She's a sand goanna or a sand monitor. If you're not Australian. Australians call monitor lizards goannas, and considering we have most of them, I think we can call them whatever we like. But yeah, Priscilla here is a desert sand monitor, or sand goanna. Yeah. 3 people out there. How is everybody today? I was just saying to Josh before, western suburbs of Melbourne. Oh, I was born in the western suburbs of Melbourne. What is my favourite monitor lizard? Lace monitors would be pretty hard to go past. Yeah, they're big, they're exciting, they're sort of brainy, and you can see them thinking. I do like lace monitors. But sandies are cool. Ridgetail monitors, or ackies people call them. My first lizard was an ackie. So yeah. Aren't their claws pretty sharp? They normally are. I actually trim Priscilla's claws just a little bit because she's a demonstrations animal. She's held by people, so I have to trim them. Is she a Flavia or a Gouldy? I was given her being told she was a Flavirufus. I think that's how the Latin name goes, Flavi. So yeah, I'd like to get opinions from a couple other people, but yeah, that's what I was led to believe, and she doesn't have anything that makes me think otherwise. It's just that Flavies are slightly more unusual in the captive trade. But yeah, apparently she's a Flavi. Do you keep reptiles yourself? Oh, obviously you do, the lizard man. What reptiles do you keep, Josh? What do you think, Isabella? Anybody else out there? 3 people. Stay, Priscilla. What lizards do you keep, Josh? If you're there? They're both so cute. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I got 2 cute girls to hang out with for the day on the couch in front of the heater. My main girl's hiding around the corner. She doesn't want to be in a video. The other half. So, yeah, just us. Australia has so many cool species, but we can't have them in the US. Well, you can't take them to the US, but every time I look on an American channel, there seems to be Australian reptiles over there. So they've either been smuggled over in large numbers or got over there prior to the 70s when all the export laws changed. But yeah, there's a lot of Australian reptiles over there. I suppose they're just in lower numbers and stuff that you can still import. And a lot of Australians would say that you've got some really cool stuff over there that we can't keep. In Australia, we can only keep native reptiles. So there's no ball pythons, corn snakes, iguanas, all the stuff that's sort of a mainstay in the trade. Yes, you got a lot to say. Say hello, Isabella. Yeah, all the, I guess the classic pet reptiles you get over there, we can't keep. In fact, we've got a feral population of red-eared slider turtles here that was smuggled in and let go. So there's good reason we can't keep them. It goes both ways. There are things you guys can have that you can't legally. Yeah, that's exactly it, you know. We can't keep any of the exotics, like Josh said. So, but yeah, I'm not as jealous as most people would be. I think for any exotic animal, there's an Australian equivalent as far as reptiles go anyway. So, we don't really need the exotics. We're pretty sport for choice, aren't we? Anybody else out there? Just us three? Where is everybody else from? I know Josh is from the western suburbs of Melbourne. And somebody's obviously from overseas, America. There's wild corns and king snakes in some part of Oz. Each state was allowed to keep them. Yeah, so there's plenty of people who talk about wild populations of corns, and there's certainly corn snakes pop up. You know, snake catchers and stuff find them. I'm unaware of anybody finding like a clutch of fertile eggs laid in the wild. So whether there's sustaining populations or there's just sort of a continuous supply of dumped animals, people are still arguing about. You know, a lot of people say that there's populations. I haven't seen solid proof yet. But if there is, it can only be a bad thing. We don't want, you know, the Australian equivalent of the Everglades, because, you know, most of Queensland would be very, very suitable habitat for a lot of the exotic reptiles. There's no reason that corns and iguanas and king snakes and all these things couldn't do well in Queensland. So it might be a pain for some people, but it's fairly justifiable why we can't keep them here in Australia. If you could keep exotics, Josh, what would you keep? Yeah, you've got one of everything, Isabella. Huh? Up to 4 people. Somebody else is out there. So yeah, somebody was saying you're from the east coast of the US. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'd love to visit. I've been to LA over the other side when I was like a teenager with my family, but I'd like to visit the east coast, go see all the cool reptile collections like down Miami, Florida. Tom Crutchfield's collection, stuff like that would be amazing. But funnily enough, nobody wants to babysit a bunch of venomous snakes and crocodiles and horses and dogs and everything else. So yeah, we're staying put for now. Vic, government had Burmese pythons on their site saying they'd been found here. I don't know honestly if I'd be keen on. Owen Pally's albino olives are beautiful, but yeah, if I had to have one Australian snake, it'd be the Owen Pally python. I like scrubbies and olives, so the Owen Pally sort of fits in that lump. Yeah, they'd be pretty amazing. And there is certainly a few berms and boas and stuff floating around. I used to work at Ballarat Reptile Park, and our Burmese python and all of our red-tailed boas were confiscated snakes, exotic pets that people had been caught with and sent to the reptile park. So not every time something's caught they get put down, but yeah, unfortunately a lot of the time where people are caught with exotics they're put down. Oh, you're dropping things, eh, Isabella? Five people out there? Who else is listening or watching? I can't talk to myself the whole time. If you could keep it... Oh, there we go. Is that Sand Goanna fully grown? Yeah, she is. For a female, she's fully grown, and for the for the desert subspecies that she is meant to be, she's fully grown. So the other subspecies, Gouldii, do get a little bit bigger, particularly with males. There you go, to go with the 11 spitting cobras and file snakes. Yeah, we had spitting cobras coming out of my ears when I was at Ballarat. The last reptile keeper basically just incubated every spitting cobra egg that we ever had. And funnily enough, other zoos and wildlife parks didn't want them. So, yeah, we had 14 Siamese spitting cobras and 6 Mozambique spitting cobras when I was there. Sorry, I missed that message. Somebody from New Jersey. I've only done one of these live things before, so I can't make the messages come back. They pop up and they pop away if I miss them. But yeah, there was a lot of spitting cobras over at Ballarat. So good fun to play. It's something that I guess most Australians wouldn't get the chance to work with. So what was that last message from somebody in New Jersey? I didn't get a chance to read it, I'm afraid. 5, 6 people out there? Hello everybody, say hi, introduce yourself. I can't talk to myself for half an hour. It's just me, Isabella and Priscilla. This one's Isabella and that one's Priscilla. 7 people. So yeah, basically guys, if you've just jumped in, I was saying before, normally on my weekends is when I get a chance, if I'm not doing shows, to film my video for the week. But outside it is cold and wet and miserable. So yeah, we're inside and I just thought we'd have a chat today. Michelle from Oregon in the US. G'day, how are you going? Hopefully nowhere near I hear there's a hurricane about to hit you guys, the Carolinas. What animal I'm going to get for the next demo? I don't know, what animal would you like to see? G'day Shannon, how are you? Yeah Josh, what animal would you like to see, I suppose? I did a live the other day as a bit of an experiment, largely because I'm starting to run out of animals you guys haven't met yet. I live up north in New Jersey where the diversity of reptiles is relatively mild. Yeah, I understand that. I live in southwest Victoria. So if you know Australia, the very bottom of the country other than Tasmania. So our reptiles are pretty well limited to tiger snakes, copperheads, blue tongues, and a handful of skink species. So a couple of hours north, you get more. Start to get into the arid country. But yeah, only a handful of reptiles live this far south. It's too cold for us. So I suppose same boat. Working with children and animals. Yes. Oh, well, she's got to learn animals sometime. Yeah, we've got a lot of reptiles around here and we live on a working farm. And me and my partner both have horses and dogs. So, yeah, she's going to be introduced to animals from a young age. Yeah, aren't you? Are you going to tell them about the goanna? Yeah. So yeah, Josh, what animal did you say you'd like to see in the next demonstration or next video? As I said, I'm starting to run out of ideas. I might have to start... Yeah, that's you over there. I might have to start visiting some friends' collections or pay a visit to a wildlife carer again and do some other ones. Because, yeah, she is such a cutie. Melbourne is almost non-existent for reptiles. Yeah, that's right. You got, like you said, Jackie dragons and a few different skinks and stuff like that. But there's a few populations of eastern water dragons that have been introduced around Melbourne. That'd be pretty cool to see. There's apparently some eastern water dragons released out near Warrnambool, which I've been meaning to go have a look at. But yeah, I grew up in Melbourne. Reptiles are fairly limited there. I moved to Townsville and I spent a year catching snakes from mines in outback Queensland. So it was very, very different to how it was in Melbourne. Yeah. Yeah, Dad. What's up? Nice sand monitor. Yeah, she's a pretty cool lizard. So, you know, it's taken a fair bit of work to get her this relaxed. Obviously, I don't make anything from YouTube. The way that we fund and pay for all these animals and to care for them is I take them out to schools and birthday parties and kindergarten. So, I need mostly animals that can be handled by children. So, yeah, it's taken a bit of work to get Priscilla this good, but she's a fairly relaxed monitor. And yeah, I think a good medium size. Big enough to be impressive, but small enough to be handleable. What's my assistant doing? Practicing her talking and I don't know, maybe another couple of years she'll be telling you guys about Australian wildlife. How would I begin working with wildlife? I live in Southwest Vic. Oh, g'day, I'm from Southwest Vic. How are you? Basically, I was very lucky. I started while I was still in high school. I did a volunteer day for another company that does demonstrations and things. How am I managed to get it that tame? Yeah, it's taken a fair bit of work to get it this time. She wasn't always so friendly. But yeah, basically I volunteered for another company when I was like 16. I was always interested in animals. And by the time I was 18, I managed to get a job doing demonstrations for another company. So I was having to take days off. Oh, don't you want to be on camera? I'm sorry. So basically I had to take days off school to go pick up other animals and go visit other schools. Do you want to go back to Mum? Hang on. So I had to go visit other schools. See Isabella. And I tried the uni thing for a while. Everybody will tell you that if you want to work with wildlife, you need to get a degree or something like that. And for some jobs you do. If you want to go out and research animals in the wild, yes, you're going to need a degree, really. However, I wasn't a very good student. So I basically dropped out of uni fairly early on. I wasn't a brilliant student. I got a job at a zoo in Townsville, up in North Queensland. I worked with crocodiles and snakes up there, and then came back to Victoria and worked with koalas at a park near Phillip Island, and then was reptile keeper for Ballarat Wildlife Park. So I was very lucky. If I had to give a piece of advice, I'd probably say focus on hands-on skills rather than a degree. A degree is really useful if you've got the skills to back it up, but the amount of people who used to come volunteer at wildlife parks and sort of say, well, why do you have a job and I don't when I've got a degree? And I say, well, can you catch a 6-foot brown snake? And they say, oh, I've never done that before. So, yeah, you're right, Josh. Experience is everything. Degrees, I guess, are just a way to prove the experience if you've got it to actually back up your claims. The other things would be, don't be one of those people who wants to work at a zoo and say, I want to work with tigers, or I'm going to be a monkey keeper. Because nobody gets their dream, species to work with straight up. The vast majority of people, in my experience, start off with native mammals because I suppose it's a mainstay in parks in Australia. So that's if you're Australian. Obviously, everything's different in America. I can't relate to that experience. But yeah, here, native mammals is what people start off with, unless you've got a specialist skill. Like, I was always involved with reptiles before I was working with wildlife. So having venomous snake handling experience was a natural sort of way in. I wasn't competing with every other zookeeper. I was competing with maybe 20% of people interested in captive animals. So, yeah, not saying I want to do one thing, taking whichever job offers. And the other thing a lot of people don't think about is just getting some physical skills. So a lot of private parks, sure, we cleaned the animals and we did the talks, but we built enclosures and we had to rake paths and cut down trees and maintain everything. So somebody who you don't have to be a tradesman of any sort, but some experience on your resume that can prove you're not afraid to get your hands dirty is also a beneficial thing, especially small private parks. Vens and croc experience, yeah, that's it. If you've got venomous snake experience or croc experience is a huge way in, particularly obviously with parks that have a lot of reptiles. One thing with reptiles is reputations. Because we're a fairly small community in Australia, the reptile community, reputations are fairly important. So you want to look into who you're going to get experience off. If you've got any questions specifically about, good courses, bad courses, send us a message and I can run through that rather than saying who I like and don't like on a video in public. But yeah, reputations is a little bit. Another sort of skill set that I think is really hard to get but a good way in is birds of prey experience. If you can volunteer somewhere with birds of prey, you've got a leg up on an awful lot of people because it's hard to get that in Australia. I've got friends who went over to America or Europe for a few months internship with birds of prey, and they walked into positions with general captive experience, but yeah, walked into positions far more easily than a lot of other people here in Australia. Yeah. Good luck. Do you work with wildlife at the moment or animals in general? 10 people out there? Hello if you've just joined in. Thank you so much. No worries, Abby. Yeah, if I haven't given you enough, yeah, feel free to search us up on Facebook and send us a message. It'd be the easiest way. We're just facebook.com/wickedwildlife. Yeah, always happy to help out and point somebody in the right direction. Yeah, the more keepers out there, the more animals we can look after and the more people we can teach. How are the fish species over in Australia? I am not a fisherman's bootlace, I'm afraid. I used to live up in the tropics where barra fishing, barramundi, was like the national sport. Sadly, here in Victoria, with the exception of things like Murray cod, most people are fishing for introduced species like brown trout, rainbow trout, redfin, which are bred and basically released into the wild for the sake of sport fishing. What's that? Yeah, I don't know anything about tuna though. They taste good. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know too much about our native fish. Yeah. We do have tuna off the coast. Obviously, they're not swimming around our farm dams or anything. But yeah, there's all the marine sports fish that I suppose go the entire way around the globe. $9.99. Thank you very much, Johnston. I always appreciate your content from Texas. Thank you. That really helps. Yeah, every dollar can go back into feed bills and things like that. Sorry, whoever sent the message after that, it popped up and disappeared. If you can send that again, I'm still getting the hang of this live stream thing. So if I don't read your message in time, it disappears and I can't give you the shout out. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. Every little bit helps. As you can imagine, we have a lot of animals. We live in the southern part of Australia, so we've got to keep them all warm, which would be my major expense. Feeding, we manage to control fairly well. I breed my own rats and mice and things like that, and I try and buy stuff in bulk where I can. But yeah, sorry, whoever sent the message after that, if you want to send her again, I'll try and read her out for you and answer whatever question you had. But I'm glad you enjoy the content anyway. I was saying, if you've just jumped on, I'm kind of needing ideas about what other videos I can do for you all. I've showed you the vast majority of the animals I have. Some of you might have subscribed to us more recently and not looked back, so I suppose I could always go and redo some old videos, because I've got some old stuff which is absolutely terrible, filmed like the wrong way around and things like that, but you got to start somewhere. But yeah, if any of you got questions or things like that, the best way to shoot us a message is on our Facebook page, and then I can, hope to make a video just for you to tackle your question. Anybody else out there? So Josh, I saw you said you keep water dragons and a few things. Do you keep any monitors at all? And you said you've got lizards at school. Do you don't go to Lilydale by any chance? That's the eastern suburbs though. I keep meaning to visit Lilydale High School. A friend Jake from Aussie Reptiles, he goes there, and we keep saying, oh, we'll have to catch up and do a video at the Lilydale High. If you don't know it, guys, Lilydale High School's a secondary school out the eastern suburbs of Melbourne that's got a huge collection of, I don't know, a couple of hundred reptiles. They breed some really technical species, and yeah, I wish that stuff was around when I was a kid, but I keep saying I'll go to visit, but I work pretty well 7 days a week, so it's been hard to get down there on a day where they can get me in as well. I recently got a Sandy named Floyd. How old is yours? No, don't have much experience. Currently volunteering at the RSPCA, more interested in native wildlife. So, Floyd is a good name for a goanna. This is Priscilla. I don't know how old she is. She came to me as an adult. Her past owner had her for several years. A lot of my reptiles are pets that people have sort of lost interest in or things like that. And the sad reality with reptiles, if you keep yourself, you'd probably be aware that a lot of them go through several homes in their lifetime. And it's not like you can open their mouths up and count their teeth or anything like that, like a sheep or something. So, we don't know her age. Yeah. And that's all right. If you don't have experience, the RSPCA is a good place to start. My first job when I was like 14, I was working at a pet shop cleaning out the puppy pens. I wish no space for monitors. Visited Lilydale High School. Yeah, it's an amazing collection, Lilydale High School. I went there before the fire. So I've seen a lot of photos and stuff and talked to keepers through the VHS, the reptile club basically. But yeah, I want to go back and see their new one. How could someone lose interest in such an awesome lizard? It's not always that somebody's lost interest. I think with Priscilla's case, from memory, it was a friend who was actually studying animals, and she's going on to do a master's or a PhD, and because she was going to be traveling a lot doing wildlife surveys, she just didn't have the time to handle her and interact with her and give her as much time. They have Rusty monitors. I'm going to have to go there and visit it. Rusty monitors would be a fantastic video. And yeah, I'd like to do a bit of a collaboration with Jake if I get a chance. I think people get in over their heads keeping lace monitors. Lacy's, I was saying before, somebody asked what my favourite lizard is. Lacy's would be one of my favourite lizards. Inspired you to start your own channel. That's good. Leave a comment at the end what it is. I'll go and check it out. How big is her enclosure? Her enclosure at the moment is about 4 foot long, 2 foot high, 2 foot deep. But I'd like to move her out into an outdoor enclosure over the summer, basically, with reptiles and other animals. Yeah, the more channels out there teaching people, the better it is. I always like going around and checking out other people's channels. So, yeah, 12 people out there. Hello, if you only just dropped by, how are we going? Yeah, we're just hanging out because, as I was saying earlier, it's too cold and wet to go outside and do a more formal video. So this is a good start. Where is everybody from? I know there's me and there's Josh and there's somebody from New Jersey and I think somebody from Texas and the Southwest Victoria. We've got people from all over the world here today. You right there, Isabella? Little Tacker's crawling around. The lizard you are holding is so cute. Oregon. Hello in Oregon. Yeah, this is Priscilla. So Priscilla is a desert sand goanna or sand monitor. She's one of the animals that we use for interactive shows. Colorado. Hello. There go Herp Guy. Keep some cool reptiles over there, I imagine. No rain out in Portland. Yeah, it only started here a couple of hours ago. I'd say it's heading your direction. Everything goes from west to east out here. So I'm at 4 hours west of you. New Jersey as well. Well, I don't know if there's too many reptiles in New Jersey. You got pond turtles and things over there. Yes, Isabella. You got some really cool sort of turtle species over there. I don't know the rest. Garter snakes, I imagine. I don't know. You tell me. Sweet shout out. Yeah, no, I have to check out their channel. Lego Herp Guy. I imagine you keep reptiles yourself, or you're interested in field herping, or I don't know. Let me know. Lots of turtles and a bunch of small lizards. What sort of lizards do you get over there? I've got very limited experience with American reptiles. My parents think I'm crazy with how I own a turtle and ridge-tail monitor, blue tongues, dragons, monitors. 13, you're doing very well. I started keeping reptiles when I was 15, properly. Like every kid, I used to catch skinks and try and feed them, and I'd let them go and it didn't work. But yeah, so my first lizard was actually a ridge-tailed monitor. Yeah, I don't know why ridge-tails, they should be every bit as popular as beardies, I think, if not more. A little bit less fragile as babies and beardies, and just as interactive, but maybe I'm biased because I kind of like monitor lizards. Yeah, how's the beardie bit doing? It's a bit cold for beardies outside here today. Gila monsters. Now that would be cool. There's a Gila monster at a zoo an hour north of me. It's the only one I've ever seen in the flesh. Yeah, I'd really like to. The only American stuff I've got to work with is a couple of Everglades rat snakes at a zoo I used to work for, and a fair bit of sort of South Central American stuff. I looked after Urukoan rattlesnakes and a young green anaconda, a lot of red-tailed boas and stuff like that. Rhinoceros iguanas. Mind you, that's in the Caribbean. Work with them at the Australian Reptile Park. How long do you work at the Australian Reptile Park? I've visited twice, and it's amazing. I've got to go now, Nick. Thank you and enjoy your channel. No, glad you enjoy the channel. Ballarat have Gilas. They didn't have Gilas when I worked there. It was 8 years ago now, maybe 9. A bunch of fence lizards, 5-line skinks, and ground skinks. Cool. I'll have to look them up. Spent 5 years there. Were you working with the reptiles, or I don't know? You'd be able to tell me about them all. Like I said, I've only got to visit twice, and it's amazing. It's been when I've been on road trips, so I've had a half an hour walk around. But I love their outdoor snake pits. They've got those. I imagine you'd know them, the big outdoor enclosures when you walk in with red bellies and copperheads and things in there. Really cool park. I'm sorry. What's that? Got to keep everybody happy. Reptile Park is like 5 minutes away from me. You're lucky. I wouldn't mind the weather up there. Keep more stuff outside. Bye-bye. Love the lizard. No worries, Lego Herp Guy. Yeah, glad you got to meet Priscilla. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind living 5 minutes away from Gosford Reptile Park. It'd be pretty cool. Wild diamond pythons. And am I going to visit the Chapel Island Tiger Snake Talk? I would like to go and visit. It's a 4-hour drive, so it depends if I can get the afternoon off to drive down, and then I'd be driving back in the middle of the night. Yeah, work with reptiles. They've got some amazing outdoor pictures. They certainly do. I love those outdoor enclosures. If I could have big outdoor enclosures, that'd be the way to do it. And they're reticulated pythons. I was there and they were taking baby retics around. The only retic I've ever got to work with was at Ballarat, and he wanted to eat people. He was a mean snake. Through no fault of his own, he had always been a strictly display animal, never handled. A hard to manage animal. So we've got a couple of people who work with animals, keep animals, work at zoos. Who else? Does anybody else keep reptiles or other wildlife at home? Do I breed any of my animals? I'm not really a breeder in that, like, I don't, set out to breed for income or something like that. I do have some animals in pairs that are, if I get lucky, I get lucky. I've got Centrillion carpets and Murray-Darling carpet pythons together. And a few lizards and things like that. Squirrel gliders, we had baby squirrel glider born here last year. So I do breed a couple of things from time to time. How about you guys? Anybody else breed anything? Somebody said something about savannah monitors. I've never got to meet a savannah monitor in the flesh. It'd be pretty cool though. Unfortunately, they seem, from what I see online, they seem to be one of those pets that is impulse purchased a lot over there and outgrows the ability of many people to keep it. Which, from people overseas, the Australian permit system or the Victorian permit system might seem crazy, but we don't have that. Need more pure carpets in the hobby, not too many floating around. Yeah, everything's jag this and crossbred that and hypo something. And dream reptile, Owen Pally python would be really high up there. 2 leopard gecko, or pygmy freshwater crocodiles as well. 2 leopard geckos and a crested gecko. Yeah, it seems like you've got a million different morphs of leopard geckos over there. Like I said, I've only been to America once and I was a child and my family went into reptiles, so I didn't get to look around. But there's a lot of different leopard geckos. Tokay geckos is something I'd like to really visit. Keep pygmy beardies, green tree pythons, albino Darwin, jungle and spotted. Yeah, that's a cool collection. I like a little bit of everything. I'd really like to get eastern beardies. I've got central beardies at the moment because they're everywhere, and as I was saying to somebody before, a lot of my reptiles are pets that people lose interest in. But eastern beardies that I could keep outdoors year round. An Aki, yeah, I've got a couple of Akis. My first lizard was a ridge-tailed monitor. So, yeah, I think they're one of the... to reptile people, they seem everywhere, but they should be more everywhere. They're one of the best first reptiles out there, I think. Every bit as good as beardies. More interactive, more... they're always moving, doing something. What are some of my hobbies? Reptile keeping. Animals, horses, pretty much all animal-related stuff. Yeah, the eastern seem rarer. The few people, I've seen a few in the ACT. I don't know why they're rarer. I've seen some wild ones that are every bit as pretty as some really well-bred Centrillion beardies. I suppose it's just a snowball effect. When permits came in, there would have been a lot of central beardies already. There's a bigger stock to start with. So as people bred more and morphs and things with those, a lot of people ditched one and went for that. And a lot of animals on the schedules here in Victoria are unusual. Things like koaris. If you're into mammals, the koari is like a very small dasyurid, like related to a quoll. And they're extinct in captivity. There's none privately kept here in Victoria or other states as far as I can find. So, yeah, just because something's on the list doesn't mean we can get it. Yeah, I'm on time to see the live. Woohoo! Yeah, I didn't know what time to do. I've only done one live before, and I was trying to pick a time that would work because half of you guys are in America. Or it sounds like more than half of you guys are in America, and the rest are here in Australia. So I wanted a time that worked for everybody. Isn't the pygmy bearded dragon R5? We don't have. We've only got basic and advanced. It might be on an advanced. I don't know. Largely because I have a demonstrator permit, so I can keep everything on basic and advanced, so I've never had to sit down and go, which one's which? And I've had a demonstrator license for, near on 10 years. Dallas, Texas. G'day, I would love to visit Texas. Me and my partner were both in a rodeo, so it couldn't get better than Texas. Pygmy bearded dragon on the advanced license. Yeah. I think it's probably due to the fact that, well, the way I was explained is when the permits first started, they just based it up on how many there was in captivity. So lace monitors, because you could catch them in the wild, there was lots of them. So somebody in an office somewhere said, oh, they must be easy to keep, and put them on basic. Wormer pythons, which now we keep very, very successfully, were put on an advanced license because they were rare in captivity at the time. New South Wales, they are R1. Yeah, every state's different, isn't it? We don't have any continuity from one state to another. It's a bit of a silly system. There'd be a lot of better ways to do it. Unfortunately, if it ever changes, if you're aware of what the changes are like up in Queensland, I think we'd risk losing species. Yeah, Wormer's got changed, 2013, which is the last licensing change. I don't think another one's coming anytime soon because the committee that lobbied it's actually been disbanded. We used to have some representatives of the reptile community, the marsupial community, the bird community. It'd all meet and try and lobby the government. I don't think they exist anymore. So, yeah, there's not going to be any more changes in the near future, I imagine. You keep dropping your toys, Isabella. Lace monitors, great tree pythons are all R2. I don't know if it sucks. Personally, if one thing that I don't like about our Victorian system is the fact that a pet shop, any pet shop with a wildlife permit, can sell a lace monitor. A lace monitor grows into an animal that the average reptile keeper probably can't handle unless he's had experience with large monitors. And yeah, I don't know how your system up there works, but basically here in Victoria, have to go, but we'll probably be back later if the live stream is still going. No worries, yeah, catch you. So yeah, basically in Victoria, basic stuff can be sold in pet shops, advanced stuff can't be sold in pet shops. I'd have nothing wrong with all the large monitors and scrub pythons, even olives, being an animal that can't be sold in the pet shop. Just because, we don't want people to be able to go and buy a snake this big or a lizard this big that gets 6 foot long in the case of Lacey or 10, 12 foot long in the case of a scrubby olive python. Yeah, I know in different states you can't sell stuff in pet shops at all. So there, I suppose it's a little bit less important. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You enjoying that? Little Tiger's having breakfast. Anybody else still out there? I'm sorry, I'm being informed that it's morning tea, not breakfast. Then again, the biggest thing I've seen for sale in the pet shop was a black-headed python. Yeah, so other than reptile stores, like Amazing Amazon, Pales for Scales when it was around, like they sold bigger stuff, and I suppose at least that those stores are reptile experienced, but it was only because they managed themselves to be. There was no legal obligation for them to be. I've seen olive pythons for sale at some other pet stores as well in the past. And as long as people are made aware that how big it's going to get, which some of the chain pet stores and stuff, they've bought in this animal and they get given the little information card and that's their whole experience with them. And I know this because I've worked at two chain pet stores. Which, yeah, despite how much we told owners and stuff about the animals, a lot of the information probably wasn't passed on. Not through fault of their own, they just didn't know or understand. They weren't reptile people. If you're going to buy a dog, you want to speak to people who know that breed of dog. Reptiles are no different. It's only trickier because reptiles are so diverse, Have I heard of Kellyville Pets? I've heard of them. I've never dealt with them. I've only heard good things thus far. I think they sponsor a few events, the expos up there and stuff like that. They enclosures in the backgrounds of their videos all look very clean and stuff. But yeah, I don't have any experience with them, I'm afraid. Do you know them or? I keep stumpies, blueies, children's pythons, olive pythons, lace monitor, and freshwater crocodile. Yeah, crocodiles would be one of my favourite captives. I love crocodiles. And shinglebacks are probably my favourite reptile. I adore them. I'd like some of those goldfields shinglebacks, but everybody would. They're just so expensive. You're in Milton, Shannon, actually. I recognise your name. There's a pet shop near me that is so bad for info. One people was trying to sell black-headed python saying they were eastern and western subspecies. 6 meters plus. God. you wouldn't be able to sell a snake that gets 6 meters plus in a pet shop in Australia. They're the real deal. Everything is so clean and tidy. Yeah, I'm glad to hear. They like I said, they look very good. I've only heard good stuff. And that's the thing. Like, it's hard to throw all pet stores in a basket because some specialise in birds, some do this and that. But like I said, we're lucky that generally they've just managed themselves off their own good accord, rather than any legal obligation to be. There's nothing saying if you can't keep these because you're not experienced enough to, which is tricky. Yeah, the Perth Hills shinglebacks are really cool. I do like the Perth, all the western stuff. Mind you, there's plenty of eastern subspecies shinglebacks that are, nice big chunky animals, big tails. There's some cool colours amongst them. So, yeah, any shinglebacks are cool. Nah, I'm alright. There's still 11 people out there. Who haven't I said hello to yet, or pop your virtual hand up, I suppose. So all the people in America, a few of you said in America, are you anywhere near this cyclone that's coming? That looks pretty scary. I think it's hitting North and South Carolina. Been reading about that. Every reptile keeper's nightmare being out of power for a couple of days at a time. What vens do I keep? I keep inland ties, eastern browns, tigers, red bellies, desperately chasing copperheads, just because I do lots of talks about local species, and it's one of the major local ones. Any suggestions on what reptiles I could put in a 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot? Sorry, I missed the rest of your message. It popped away. But 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot's a pretty well standard enclosure. Is it a wooden enclosure? Or is it a big glass fish tank? Because personally, I prefer wooden enclosures with glass front. I find they're more thermally stable. If the lights go out, they stay warm for a couple of hours rather than a fish tank, which is down to room temperature really fast. But yeah, 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot will house, and I only know Australian species. I don't know where you said you were. But all the carpet pythons would fit in that very well. Wooden 4-bay with glass. Yeah, so I suppose it depends what your personal interest is in. Lizards, snakes is the first thing. But there's not too many species that wouldn't do well in a 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosure. Personally, olives and scrubbies will probably grow into bigger, but a lot of people keep them in something like that anyway. And of course, big active monitors, do better outdoors. But yeah, pretty well anything Australian. I don't know how much reptile keeping experience you've got, but a lot of people would advise against putting a really small hatchling, especially snakes, in huge enclosures. Southwest of the hurricane, I have family and friends right under it now. It's not nearly as bad as it seems on the news. Yeah, the media's got a habit of drumming these things up. Can't get any snakes because of my parents. Yeah, I used to live in North Queensland, and every time there was a cyclone coming to us, which is a hurricane, we just call them cyclones, it was, red alert. And more often than not, it was a bad storm. Mind you, we worked at a wildlife park, so our protocol, we had to catch 22 4-meter long crocodiles and restrain them so that the floodwaters didn't let them out. And yeah, it was all hands on deck. Can't keep snakes because you live with your parents. Yeah, I understand that. None of my parents are interested in reptiles at all. They let me keep lizards. I started keeping snakes much against their will. Yeah, but if you don't want to get kicked out of home, start off with some lizards. There's some pretty cool lizards anyway. Like I said, Ackies, ridgetail monitors, even medium-sized monitors, sand monitors and stuff like that. That could do all right. My Sandy got a huge 2.4 meter enclosure. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Like I was saying before, I'd like to move the Sandy outdoors at some point, but I'd have to build an enclosure with a wire bottom, because if you've got Sandies, you'll know they dig like no tomorrow. But I think outdoor animals are often a lot more active. They're a bit more exciting because they're acting natural. And considering I live somewhere where there's not many reptiles, it's like getting to. I can't go to Queensland, so I can bring Queensland down to me, I suppose. Yeah. So you already keep Sandies and a few things. Do I have any experience with sandfish skinks? No, I don't. I don't think they're Australian. Most of my experiences with Australian stuff, I said earlier, I've been lucky enough to work with a few exotics through wildlife parks, but even wildlife parks have a really hard time bringing stuff from overseas to Australia. So most exotic reptiles in zoos in Australia are animals that trace back, the ancestors were imported prior to the 70s. So there's only a limited amount of species here. Lots of boas and berms and stuff like that. Alligators are very well represented. I work with a fair few alligators, but yeah, no sandfish skinks, I'm afraid. Do you keep them or anything, or? Prior to the 70s or illegal imports? Yeah, pretty much. When I say 70s, I'm just taking a rough guess on when the CITES stuff came in. And yeah, illegal imports have been a big thing. Some zoos were happy to take them. A lot of zoos are very hesitant to take them, for understandable reasons. How bad are other poisonous snakes, spiders, creatures compared to the US? Sorry, the rest of your message disappeared. You might have to send again, but in schemes of how venomous they are, our snakes are far more venomous than the US. Like, no competition. But a big thing which I'm always teaching people when I do venomous snake talks, because we do a lot of venomous snake talks, is how more venomous doesn't mean more dangerous. Our snakes, or how venomous a snake is basically measured how little venom does it take to kill a mouse in the laboratory. It's got nothing to do with first aid, how much venom does the snake have, how quickly did the mouse die, could we save the mouse, nothing to do with that. So our snakes need very little venom to kill a mouse, because the top three species, inland tie, eastern brown coastal fly, they all eat mice, and they've got very short fangs, so they've had to evolve very potent venom. Also, for the most part, they live in relatively sort of arid environments where it's boom or bust. When they find food, they need to make sure they can catch food. An interesting comparison, you go overseas, like in the US, where your snakes aren't as venomous, they've had to evolve much bigger fangs, make sure their venom gets all the way in there. I've been 14 years this month, only seen one venom that was a red belly. Yeah, there's certainly not as many. I was going to get one, but ended up with not. Forget the reason. Yeah, oh, well, you know, better not jump into keeping something you don't know 100% yet. There's so many options, especially over there in America. But yeah, people think venomous snakes are all over the ground, but they're not. I used to work up the mines in outback Queensland, and they were laying gas pipelines. So they'd dig this 10-kilometre trench. And you know, when scientists want to survey reptiles, they usually dig pits and put a fence between them, and they catch them in the pits. So 10-kilometre trench is a gigantic reptile trap. And we used to catch a fair few snakes, but if you walked around the bush, you wouldn't see any of them. You know, so they're not nearly as common as everybody thinks they're going to be. Yeah, snake catchers probably catch more than any because we don't have to go looking. People ring us when they find them. But yeah, chances are if you've seen one snake, there's other snakes there. They're good at staying out of your way. Anybody else out there? I'll have to pop Priscilla back in a minute. It's fairly warm actually here in front of the heater. She doesn't mind it. But yeah, she can go back out into her enclosure. Oh, well, what I might do, guys, I might wrap it up there and yeah, try this another time again. But yeah, thanks for watching and sticking around as long as it's been. If you do have any questions, or like I said, I'm not good with the messages. If you've sent a message and I didn't get to answer it, leave us a comment or send me a message on our Facebook page, facebook.com/wickedwildlife. Yeah, I'll pop this girl back. I'll try and get some work done outside before it starts raining again. And have a good one and take care, guys. Thanks for watching.